Hello everybody. I want to show you how I give myself an infusion of an antibiotic called Ceftriaxone. And here is the antibiotic in this syringe, and I'm going to get ready to give myself an infusion. Now I'm at my kitchen table, and the first thing I always do is to clean off my table. I have these disinfecting wipes. So I'll just clear that off, wipe it off. There we go. Good. Okay. Now I'll just set that aside and I'll go get the rest of what I need. But so far I have just my Ceftriaxone. I'm going to go over here and here is everything else I need. I'm going to put the syringe in this nifty device. The syringe goes in there, and this is slowly going to depress the plunger. It's really cool. So there's that, and this is a tubing that attaches to my syringe, and it regulates the flow. The thickness, the diameter of the tubing is going to regulate the flow. And so this will go in over a period of about roughly half an hour to 35 minutes, something like that. Here we go. So I've undone the tubing. Now this tubing is general purpose, and so what it does is that it doesn't know what's going through it, and so it's filled with a saline solution. But first I have to wind up my device. You can turn the knob, but it's easier just to hold the knob in your hand and rotate this unit. So there we go. I'm going to take one end off of the tubing. I'm going to take the end off of the syringe, screw them together. There we go. Slip this into my motor. Okay. Now, I have to make sure that there's no air bubbles in here that could get into me, so I'm going to take the other end off the tubing, just unscrew it, hold it between my fingers, and start this, and watch as it rises up till a little drop appears, and then I'll turn it off again. So I'm priming the pump here. So here we go. Maybe you can see there's a little wedge-shaped thing that goes against the end of the and there it is. There's bubbles coming out the end. I turn that off. I screw this down tight, and that's ready to go. Okay, now the other thing I have to do, and I really should place these in the order that I'm doing them. So I have two saline solutions to flush my line. I have a blue cap that I'll use at the end, and I have an alcohol prep pad. But first I want to take one of these syringes. I flushed the line before and after the infusion. That didn't want to come open. There we go. Before and after the infusion. And so this is one I'll use before. I unscrew the cap of that, And maybe you can see, probably not, but there's a bubble at the very top there, some airspace. And so I simply compress the plunger and until some saline solution appears at the top, and I stop that and screw it back on. Okay, well now I'm ready to access my PICC line, and I'm in my robe because I need a really loose sleeve in order to access everything. So the first thing I'll do is I'll sanitize my hand using some hand antiseptic. There we go. You know, the PICC line puts the medicine in very close to your heart and carries it almost immediately through your heart. So you want to make sure that everything is clean. Now I'm rolling up my sleeve, and there's this tube sock. I'll roll it down, and down comes my PICC line. PICC line enters here and enters my skin there, and then goes down past the clamp, which is now closed, and the rest of it is held by this little booty that I'll put on when I'm done. All right, so there's my PICC line. And here's the cap that I put on yesterday, the blue alcohol cap. And I'm going to take that off and then clean this end off just to make sure that it's very, very clean. So there we go. Open up the alcohol pad. I will take the blue cap off, and now I clean this for about 15 seconds. So there we go. Good. 1, 2, 3, 4 long seconds. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And there we go. So now I'll open up the saline. I'll put these two pieces together. Screw the saline on. Undo the clamp. So I have a straight line now into my heart, or close to my heart, and I'm going to inject that. Here we go. And I'm doing this as I'm breathing out as I do it. I'm talking, but usually I go so I don't taste it or smell it. Because it does have a taste and a smell, the sodium chloride does. All done. And now I can close the clamp. Remember, this has been primed. There's fluid right at the very near the end of it, and I can put these together. There we go. Excellent, they are together. Open up the clamp again and start it. And there we go. So now this will be going in over 30-35 minutes or so. And so usually when that happens, I can sit here, read or do something, or I can go in and watch something on television, which is what I'm going to do right now. And so I will come back and show you how this whole thing ends. So pretty cool little portable unit. I shall return. Well, it's about half an hour later. My plunger is almost down to the end, and I spared you the video I was watching. It was a lecture on number theory. I'm a geek. But you can see, maybe not, probably not, that there's a little bubble down here on the end, and I want to make sure that little bubble at the end of my syringe doesn't get into my line. So I just watch it. And that, as this plunger pushes the compresses the syringe a little bit more, that bubble slowly moves toward the exit, toward the line. And so I just watch that. Building up the suspense here. And there we go. It has just reached that end. And so I'm going to turn off my little mechanical pump here. I'm going to close my line, and I'm going to close a clamp on this line so that when I disconnect these, you don't get a bunch of fluid leaking onto the kitchen table here. So there we go. I did that, and now I can, my clamp is closed, disconnect these. But before I'm done, I'm going to have to flush the line. And so holding the line like this, I could have done this before I disconnected, but I was sort of short on time, so I didn't. I just squeeze all the air out of this syringe of saline solution. There it is. And I connect these two ends. So I'm going to flush my line with saline solution, make sure all the medicine gets into me. And so I'll open up my clamp again, straight connection to my heart, and I'll exhale while I put this in. And close the clamp. By the way, my doctor isn't sure, but he believes that's what's going on when I inject this. It goes quickly to my lungs, and then when I exhale, that brings forth part of this mixture here, this saline solution, that I can both taste and smell. That's not bad, but not that crazy about it either. Okay, so I'll take that off. My clamp is closed. And my last step is to put on a blue cap. So these caps are filled with alcohol at their end. I screw it on there, and that will help keep this end nice and clean and sterile until tomorrow. So my last step is to take this out of the plunger, take the syringe out of this thing, and so I just pull back on it and out. I didn't mention it, but you might notice that this line here, the line that I connected to the syringe, has a little collar on it, and that goes up against the end of the pump, and it keeps the syringe from sliding forward when I'm pushing on the plunger. So if you don't have that line, then it's really hard to give yourself an infusion. And every week they make a shipment of the Ceftriaxone. They send me more of these lines. They send me blue caps, whatever I need. But once they shorted me on these tubings, and I had to sit there, just sit over 40 minutes, had this connected straight in and slowly compress the plunger. So I'd rather not do that. There we go, all done. And now the only thing I have to do is to put this back in place, which is the most challenging part of all. I'll fold the tubing back over itself, like that, 3 times. I'll put it in a little sock here. And the little sock really is just to protect my arm. I don't want the raw tubing and the blue cap pressing against my arm when I'm asleep because it's uncomfortable. There, that's inside there. And now I can press this little loop here, bend this little loop so it goes into the sock and get the end of the connection into there. And that's always a pain because, there we go. That goes in. You can see it's not too bad. But it took me a long while to perfect the best way of doing that. And perfect should be in quotes. There we go. And I just put this up here. I can put my chin on it, sort of unwieldy. And I pull this back up. I pull it way over. This little mesh tube up my arm. And I'm all done. You might wonder, does this really hurt or anything when the PICC line is in? Honestly, it doesn't. Sometimes if I am sleeping on it and I'm pushing against this end that I just put in the little sock, that can cause some discomfort to my arm, but the PICC line itself where it goes in, not at all. And finally, you might wonder, well, gosh, why can't I just squirt in the ceftriaxone? And the reason is that it and apparently some other antibiotics can cause your there we go, can cause your arteries and veins to become irritated. I don't want that, so it's put in over a long time so that I can mix with the blood first. So that is what I do. I do this every afternoon, and I'll be doing it again tomorrow. So hope you found this interesting, and I will see you all some other time. Bye-bye.